Hi, everyone. So we made Seshat Swap. My name is Shanice Barona, and I was a Jane of all trades, along with my teammates Lenny Sims and Chelsea McKinney, and our lead developer, Janessa White. So we were really inspired by the goddess Seshat, also known as the mistress of the House of Books, which sounds like a dream job, to be honest. But she's known as the goddess of knowledge and wisdom and writing. So we were really inspired by that to create this app. So problems. For me, I was really interested in working on this project because I'm currently on the wait list for the Becoming Michelle Obama book, and I am number 1,147. So if you do the math, it'll take 6 months before I can loan that book from the library. So moving to Chelsea.
Which brought us to a bigger problem, which was access to people of color written books. I'm an avid reader, and a couple years ago I made it my personal mission to read all books by people of color. That being said, it became more and more difficult to actually find these books. And then once I did find them, just like Shanice's example, they were on hold at the library, and you would be like, person number 384,000, et cetera, et cetera. So we were trying to build an app that would create access to all people of color so they can find people of color like written books, and also just when I would search for these books and I was interested in buying them, the cost of them could also be very expensive as well. So the cost.
Yes, books are very expensive. So we did create this Seshat, which is a crowdsourcing web application. And the idea is for people to exchange and or donate books. And the users we're targeting, the focus is marginalized communities. So what that workflow would look like was a user will have their own library, and the library will consist of books that you have that you're willing to loan or donate, and then also, I don't know what it is, but also have a wish list. So people can see this wish list and know that's the book that you are hoping to acquire. So one of our goals, or a few of our goals, is to increase literacy and access to literature within marginalized communities, but then also increase access to people of color authors. And we think that this will help foster wellness within these marginalized communities.
All right. So our tech stack we use is React for the front end, and then we use Firebase just to make it easy for me. So I logged in while Elise was talking, but as you can see on our dashboard, the first thing that we see is our library. So once when I register for the site, I get to have the opportunity to add books to my library to say that these are the books that I have and that I'm willing to share with you all. Or that way, if Chelsea logs in and she's like, hey, I really want to read Becoming Michelle Obama, and I see that you have it, we can set up an exchange between the two of us. I can either buy it for her, or I can gift her mine or loan it out to her. So eventually we'll have, you'll be able to see your book matches down at the bottom, and you'll be able to connect with that person one-on-one to either get their address, if that's okay with them, or to purchase it for them on an Amazon wish list.
So next steps, we'd like to build in book recommendations. So it'll start suggesting books that you're interested in based off of books that you've read or exchanged. We don't want cost to be a barrier. So we'd like for the individuals using the app for shipping to be completely free. So we would have this kind of pot of money, ongoing shipping fund that would be 100% donated to cover the shipping fees. We'd like to build a bookstore API that will connect with local bookstores so that we're also supporting local communities and funneling money back into local communities. We'd also like to build in functionality for audiobooks, and we'd hope to see sponsorship so that the sustainability of the app would keep going. And our vision is that we'd like to increase access, again, to reading, increasing literacy, and growing community. Thank you. Thanks.
And now 3 minutes for judges.
Do you have any ideas about managing like supply and demand? You mentioned the library usually has these really long wait lists. Do you have ideas for how to combat that within your website?
Yeah. Well, I personally was just going to give everybody my library to hold everybody down for the time being. And then as soon as we got more users, then we would crowdfund for like more books and buy them in bulk.
So with that, it's also like once someone buys a book, it does become a part of the library. So when you're done with it, like there is going to be an option of passing it along so that you don't have to necessarily return it, but just keep it moving. And then of course, if people donate and continue to do that, more books will be able to like disperse.
Correct. Well, there for sure at least won't be one copy of Michelle Obama's book on the website. So there's that.
So how do you see your partnerships evolving? What do you see the future for that?
Partnerships meaning with like other companies?
Other companies, how will you avoid being like the library and having a huge wait list?
So my thought in that is there aren't a lot of locally owned bookstores that are owned by people of color, but that would be hopefully a positive that comes out of this is that we'll be able to, one, increase access to books, but also get more people interested in books, and then maybe they would like to own a bookstore. Obviously, partnerships in the beginning is going to be very difficult because who's the biggest seller of books? Amazon, not owned by a person of color, but sure. So it will have to grow organically. There's not really a set plan currently, but that would be the long-term goal.
All right, thank you so much.